Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the most magical podcast in the Midwest. That's right, the Magic in the Midwest podcast, starring USA Today best-selling author J.B. Michaels and his more successful wife, Ashley Michaels. And now, your hosts. All right, thanks so much, announcer. Thank you so much. It is the 70th.
The what?
70th episode of the Magic in the Midwest podcast, Ash. 70.
Wow.
70 years.
Look at us.
70 years. No, I hope I live till I'm 70 years.
Well, I mean, I think we should shoot for higher
You know,
than that.
I could go longer.
I don't know if that's the right perspective.
But I mean, let's make it to 70.
I could go longer.
Let's make it to 70.
Why is that
and see what goes on after that. Let's keep going.
Reassess.
Let's keep going.
See if
by
it's
then,
worth it.
It'll all be good. No.
Only by then.
Only my health, I mean. It'll be good until then. No. So, 70 episodes of the Magic in the Midwest podcast.
We should,
Celebrate.
Why did I...
Sounded like Christopher Walken. We should, celebrate with the Magic in the Midwest podcast. Celebrate. Anyway.
I did. It was like a weird...
It was a weird
the way you put the emphasis
impression.
on the syllables. Yeah. The sills.
The syllabs.
Syllabs.
Okay. Yeah, so, yes, the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you by magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com, where you can find exclusive episodes of the Magic in the Midwest podcast, right?
Correct.
Lots of those. And the many works of J.B. Michaels.
Many.
There's 15. I guess 15. The 15th is coming soon. It's Why the F Do I Need Life Insurance?
Why the F?
Why the F do I need life insurance?
Why the F? A lot of things.
Why the F? A lot of things. Hashtag Why the F. Yes.
That's our new.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I feel like that fits.
It does
Disney
sort of
right
fit
now.
today with what we're going to talk about.
That's right. Okay, go on.
It certainly does. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we've got Why the F Do I Need Life Insurance is going to be out very soon. It is just a free promotional, fun, short, nonfiction piece that really just kind of explains to people what life insurance really can do for you.
And you should say what else is featured in the book that people might be interested in reading about. Maybe some certain stupid things that
a lot of
people have done.
Basically, it's sort of a memoir slash informative book about me and the dumb stuff I've done.
Is one of them our marriage?
No, that's definitely
not in
dumb.
the book?
No. Not yet. Oh, part 2, maybe.
Part 2. Why the F?
Why the F did I marry this liability? Anyway.
It would be a longer book.
Yes, it would be a tome. But basically, it's really a funny book just about different things that I've done to basically risk my life. It's very funny. Here's the thing. I've noticed a couple things. I'm getting reviews. Some people completely miss the point. Completely miss the point.
Really?
Yeah, they think that it's going to be a straight nonfiction, here's life insurance, boring. And it's not.
But wouldn't they be pleasantly surprised?
It's more about
or they just don't want
the funny stories mixed in with learning about life insurance,
right.
And some people really attach themselves to it. I think it's really, really funny.
Right. So it might be for you, and maybe not.
I mean, I feel like for most people it is. But you have to
personality.
You have to understand that this is written in a very informal tone.
Which you would think would be the point.
Yes,
then you
I'm
can
trying to just
it.
talk to people about life insurance. I'm not trying to be some professor
Let me tell you all these things.
Let me tell you that the premium will go towards this. What the heck? I mean, I could do that, but why? Who's gonna read that? And it's free.
I don't know if you can read in that tone, though.
Right.
Or write in that tone.
Quid pro quo. That was Aladdin. But anyway, Genie. Oh, the lamp!
Yeah, Genie Plus.
Speaking of Genie Plus, yes. We'll get to that. That's the topic of our podcast,
be
the 70th. And there's a lot Ashley has to say. And she's really smart, so it's going to be interesting.
Who else sensed?
No, there's no sarcasm.
No, we all know.
No.
Everyone sensed it.
I didn't. Okay. Also,
Dumb.
we have, what else do we have? We have met lots of great people, including Emily.
Yes, and she is a vacation planner, and she specializes in Disney and Universal vacations, also Disney cruises. So if you're looking to book a trip, you should email her. Her email is emily@magicalmousetravel.com. She is, you guys, I'm watching JB.
I'm trying to be quiet.
Coffee. He's like closing his eyes and it... Okay, anyways, Emily@magicalmousetravel.com. She is lovely. Her and I chat often. She is very knowledgeable. She will help you plan your vacation. You should definitely check her out, especially with all the changes that have been made recently. I feel like it's getting to be more and more to book a vacation, especially through Disney. So if you're looking for some help or to take
navigate the world.
Yeah, to navigate that, working with her is free of charge. She will send you a no obligation quote.
Yes.
Let her know that we sent you over when you contact her, and just you'll be able to sit back and relax, and she'll do the heavy lifting for you because that is her job.
Yes, which it's interesting, like hearing from Emily and giving what Emily gives her perspective.
Yes.
On certain announcements, certain things that will directly impact her business and her basically her workflow is severely impacted.
Yeah, totally.
And again, Disney. One thing you have to realize is that things always change with Disney. I mean, Walt's philosophy, which I disagree with because Disney now uses it as like a weapon. When anything changes, they always say, well, Walt said Disneyland is not a museum. And it's like they use that for like everything that they change ever, including, the now Genie Plus. Or sorry, it's Genie. Not Genie Plus.
Genie.
It's just Genie, and we'll get into what Genie Plus means soon. But that's something that, I don't like is that they often use like, oh, well, things always have to change.
Like when it benefits them.
Right.
Just as an excuse to basically give, bad news. But I understand. Also, there's a line, like things are always going to change where Fastpass is going to remain the way that they remained forever. No, just like they didn't before. You know what I mean? There's going to be changes along the way. In 5 years, do I think this will be the way things are done? Honestly, probably not.
Right.
I think it's going to continue to evolve.
Well, I remember, I think earlier in the existence of Disney, which, by the way, it's like 39 days till the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World.
Which just seems crazy because it doesn't really seem like they're talking about it very much. Maybe they are, and I'm just not really paying attention.
We're not really paying that much attention, I guess. Because there's a lot of... They're announcing things, and things are super... They're not being well received, put it that way.
Comments are being turned off.
Yes, comments are being turned off the blog, and the PR spins are now happening, and so here's the we had like paper tickets,
right,
and then later we had cards, which they still have.
I love the cards.
Then they give you paper cards, like they used to give you paper cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then it switched to like physical plastic cards, like your keys to the kingdom, which I think was like in early 2000s. And then after that, it went to
Magic Bands, which was like in 2013.
Yeah, and now they're totally not doing the Magic Band thing. Like you can still get one and it'll still work, but I have a feeling Magic Bands are just going to be gone soon. Like they're just not even going to be
And here's my
around.
issue with that, which I know we'll get into all this, is yet again, another reason to be staring down at your phone all the frickin' time, even when you're on vacation now. And that's kind of frustrating. Like, I don't even want extra perks on my phone. I don't want to be sitting there. I am sympathetic to the parents that will say that it gives their kids something to do in line or something like that.
The Disney Play app.
Right, like things like that. I don't think they're necessary. I understand, but, I don't want when we get into more of like what Genie Plus is, which I know is separate from, Genie, and then there's Genie Plus. I don't want more perks on my phone. Yeah. I don't want more things to look at on my phone.
Well, it's only for iPhones at the moment, and of course this will keep changing and evolving. But literally, the last time we went, I didn't even need a Magic Band because I loaded my ticket into my wallet, an Apple Wallet. I didn't even have to bring the wallet up. I could have just tapped my phone even without the wallet open to the ticket. It didn't matter. So, like, the reliance on mobile technology is just becoming, more and more and more, and it's a way for them to cut costs, right?
Right.
They're using it as a way we can cut costs. We've done the projections. We've done the metrics. Most people that come here have a smartphone, and they could use their smartphone.
What happens with, with Harrison? Like, with a kid, then is it loaded onto one of our phones, and we have to tap and bring up something else?
Yeah, probably. Okay. Yes, because he doesn't really need a Magic Band.
That is one nice thing about the Magic Bands was that you weren't like navigate. You know what I mean? I get it.
But they still have them. I just feel like they're gonna.
Yeah, but just like anything, anytime they do something new and they don't want you to use the stuff anymore, there's always like those problems when you go to get in and then it doesn't work, and then you go to this person with an iPad and they can't get it to work, and if they don't get it to work, you have to go to guest services.
Oh, they hated the fact that we had remember our legacy passes? Yeah, like we had 8 park hopper days and we were on day 5, and because it was on a card, it was such a big, like you're saying, like get the iPad, get somebody over.
We've heard a lot of stories from people we know that have went. This just happened to friends of ours that went, and it wasn't even an issue with old passes. They had new passes, they were using them the way they were supposed to be using them, and they went early to Animal Kingdom to get in line for Flight of Passage, and one of the kids' things just wasn't registering their pass to get in. So then they had to go to guest services, and they lost 45 minutes. And the guy was terrible. Like, what can I do for you? And they're like, how about...
No, give me a ride.
How about
give me a Fastpass.
How about to Flight of Passage? Because now the line is 3 hours long, and I would have gotten on sooner. And he was like, that's the one ride I can't give it to you. And it's like, well, this experience was ruined because of your technology.
Yes.
It's terrible. But it's just like, they need to get this
act together
in order.
Okay, so we have the kind of the evolution of the ticketing system. My Disney Experience is apparently still staying. Like they didn't.
I thought it was going to replace it.
They didn't announce that My Disney Experience was gone.
And they still talked about it in the promo
video.
They did. They're still going to use it.
So which is weird. So that's another whole app, because the My Disney Experience, my guess, is for your hotel key, for your
Why
for
couldn't
your
they
hotel
just have Genie
situations.
do that too? I mean, what's the point of having 2 different things?
I don't know. So, okay, guys. So, what we're talking about, in case you don't know, Disney made a huge announcement last week that they are going to overhaul things that have been in Disney parks for years, since the 90s, a complete, utter overhaul. And, okay, there are pluses and minuses to it. Predominantly for me and Ash, it's a minus, okay? But we understand that there's a lot of people that do Disney differently than us, that stay off property, that don't, that aren't DVC members, and the Genie Plus app will actually be a benefit for them, big time benefit for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so but it's going to cost you. So here's the deal. Disney announced the Genie app. The Genie app is apparently the most sophisticated crowd control app that ever existed, because that's basically what this is. I
think so.
It's going to make suggestions for your day. You're going to type in, hey, I'm going to Magic Kingdom on October 7th. What can I do, Genie?
And you'll be able to put in like
plan
your
my day.
Preferences and things you definitely want to hit, and your likes and dislikes. And if you're not even sure about rides, it'll ask you about categories. And then, it will spit out some sort of customized itinerary for you.
Yes. Okay. So Genie by itself is just going to do that. Okay. It's just going to make an itinerary for you. It's going to show you the wait times. It's going to show you reservation times for Skipper's Canteen.
It looks like it will sort of remind you, like, you know, lunch is coming up.
Right.
You would you like to mobile order for, you know, blah, blah, blah. And if you want to know why Pinocchio's Village House, you can click on why it was recommended to you, and it will tell you why. Because it's near your next attraction, or the wait isn't very long, or whatever it is.
Wait in line. Go to It's a Small World. And in line, order your food at Pinocchio's Village House, and by the time you come out of It's a Small World, you could say, I'm here, prepare my order, and then you could go pick up your order.
No, so, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna stop you right there.
It's cool.
I mean, you think about it from someone's perspective that's never been and has no idea how to navigate the parks. I mean, that sounds like a perk.
It does.
I mean, for us, I'm more annoyed by it because we know what we want to do, and we can look at, like,
that was Disney's
by ourselves.
They've made it very clear on that video. They're like, you can still enjoy Disney any way you want.
Well, I know, right? I'm just saying, I guess I do understand, because I feel like Disney is so overwhelming, and your travel agent can't, I mean, they can put stuff together for you, but, like, they can't be with you in the park at that time.
They can't be with Ash and JP. Is what you're saying.
Right. And Emily's not going to be there with them either. You know, so you can make suggestions and, you know, so I guess, you know, in that way, it maybe would make for more of a pleasant experience, and maybe instead of having to figure everything out, you would just be like, okay, well, let's do that. But I also think at the same time, just hearing myself say it, it does make you feel like, okay, we know that these parts of the park are really busy. We're going to try and get this big group of people to be spread out.
Yeah.
You know, anyways, keep going.
So it is crowd control, it is. But also, you know, and the other thing that the Genie app will do, so it makes suggestions, it gives you an itinerary of things to do. And obviously you can make reservations if you need to. The major restaurants, you are not going to be able to do that. You're still going to have to make reservations
like 6 months out or whatever it is,
So if you want to get into Space 220 anytime soon, you've got to call.
Make sure you have a vacation planner, and then it's Emily.
Which we are going to do that. Emily will book it for you.
If it's available.
Book it, do it.
No,
buy it, do it.
No guarantees.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, if Rose and Crown has an opening at 8 o'clock, you're walking around World Showcase, maybe you could get that reservation. Genie will suggest it to you probably based on your prior history too. I mean, they probably have every data point imaginable that, you know, of us. You know what I mean? So that's Disney Genie. Okay, and of course it's got, you know, Genie's like featured, and it looks really cool, and it'll be a very nice app, I'm sure. Okay, now let's go to the next tier of Disney Genie. Disney's Genie Plus. Okay, and this is the kicker. This is why everybody's upset. Okay? Okay, and here's where I could see it being sort of back. It was a less level playing field, and now it's more of a level playing field, sort of, in a way. Here's the explanation.
Between who?
Opportunity is what I'm saying. To get what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so back in the day, back in the 90s, you would walk up to a physical Fastpass kiosk.
Right.
Put your physical card or paper ticket into the Fastpass machine. It would spit out a little piece of paper that said return between 8:15 and 9:15 to get on Space Mountain. Okay, go right into the Fastpass line. Donald was the Fastpass icon at the time, and he was like doing like running. Okay,
now am I correct in saying that when this was the case, let's say we went up to one of those kiosks in the 90s, which couldn't have happened. Let's say we did.
Yeah.
It would automatically spit out the next available time. You weren't choosing between times. If the next available time for the Fastpass was between 1 and 2, and it was, let's say, 10 o'clock in the morning, you didn't get a chance to choose, no, I want to come back at 5. Right. It was like, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yes.
And then you could go grab another one.
Right.
As long as it wasn't at the same time slot.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So, and that's the crazy thing. On the top, it had a timer. It would show you which window it was serving.
Okay.
So 1
so
10
you would
to
know
2
if
10.
you could get it or not.
So like there were times where we walked into Magic Kingdom early. Splash Mountain would already be at like 3 o'clock.
Well, I remember Rock and Roller Coaster would already be like
at
at
8 o'clock,
7.
right?
And
we walked
first thing in the morning,
right? Because people would go grab their Fastpass for Rockin', because the line for Rockin's not the best. And then you would that's what you did. But what was wonderful about it is that everyone had access to that, right? And that was still the case, and it was a free service.
I mean,
right?
I'm going to argue, yes, everyone had access to it in terms of whether you're staying on Disney property or you live in Orlando or you're staying off property, yes. But you think about other situations, like we're visiting with my parents. Are they going to want to like run to a kiosk just so we can say we have a Rock and Roller Coaster Fastpass 10 hours from now?
Go.
You know what I mean?
You
like,
grab their ticket.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, there are certain things that...
Yeah.
You know,
so it was another element to being in the parks where you had to really think about,
like, what if we weren't with them?
Right. You had to really think about what ride you wanted to get your fast pass for, and you kind of had to strategize. Which ones do we really want to go on? And don't want to wait in the line that long.
Right.
I remember getting fast passes for Space Mountain and Big Thunder, and like going back and forth, crisscrossing across the park just to get fast passes. But that was a long time ago. Then Disney announced that if you stay on Disney property, you can get what's called Fastpass Plus. Okay, so the plus word is being used, at least that's on brand, right? They use plus a lot in Disney, because Walt would say plus it. Like if an animator made a scene and it could be better, he said, let's plus it.
And he didn't mean upcharge.
No, he just meant make it better. Right.
It's not really how it's being used currently.
Not currently at all, no. So then they did Fastpass Plus, and what that did is me and Ash would book our Old Key West reservation, and 60 days from then, we would go, okay, Ash, we need to get fast passes for our trip. What do we want to get? We get 3 Fast Pass Plus.
As long as you're staying on Disney property, value
you have
moderate,
a ticket.
or deluxe, you get Fast Pass Plus was included in your admission, and you got to pick them, 60 days out, and it was only, even if you had a park hopper, it was only for one of the parks, but you would be able to make 3 selections, and you actually could pick more, like once you were in the park. Let's say you used all 3, you can book more, but I think there were things that people really liked about it, and then there were a few things people didn't like about it.
Here's the biggest issue with FastPass Plus, and I get it. I understand. Flight of Passage, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, those fast passes were always gone. Mm-hmm. Like, so someone staying off property could never get a fast pass for Flight of Passage, or for Navi River.
Basically, Disney was prioritizing their guests staying on
property. Yes.
So if you lived there, or you were staying off property, you could still ride the ride, but you had to wait. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, that's what was going to happen.
So fast passes were still available for everyone, but then Fast Pass Plus was tiered. Mm-hmm. So you would have a tier 1 where for a long time, now it's different now, but Soarin' was tier 1, Flight of Passage tier 1, Rock and Roller Coaster tier 1, like the very popular rides. You could only get one of those.
Right. So let's say, for example, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Space Mountain are both tier 1, and Magic Kingdom, you could only book, out of your 3 fast passes, you could only do one of them for a tier 1 attraction. You couldn't do Seven Dwarfs, Space Mountain, and Splash Mountain.
And then you had tier 2, and tier 2 was like Big Thunder, and basically everything else. It was like tier 1, and then
Splash Mountain would be tier 2.
Tier 2, and
tier 1 would Flight of Passage, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train,
the Peter Pan's Flight,
things that are like super popular most of the time, and Smuggler's Run maybe.
So that ranking system still exists today.
It does.
Okay, but now there's a bigger caveat.
I want to mention one more thing. So one thing I want to mention is that if you think about all these things, like FastPass Plus was included in your stay if you stayed on property, as was Magical Express, which we know is going away in 2022. So taking into account what we're about to talk about, it really definitely feels like, what is the point of staying on property? For people that, there are some things, but if you're not a DVC member and you would normally stay at a moderate resort or a value resort, why stay on property now?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
You can pay to play, which is what we're going to talk about.
Well, yeah, right now.
Why wouldn't you just save a bunch of money on your hotel, stay at an Airbnb? What's the point?
Right.
Why would you do it?
Yeah, they're making it less of a thing. That's for sure.
Less appealing. Okay.
So, in case you don't know what it is, which most of you do, but Fastpass is literally you get to skip the line. You get to go into a separate
little express line.
Line that gets you on the ride much faster than you would if you were in the standby, right? So that's what that's the concept. That's what we're talking about. I mean, some people may be like, "What the heck is a Fastpass?"
I think most people listening
know. Yes. So
okay.
Fastpass now. Take those tiered attractions now. This is what really bothers me. I think that what bothers me is the Flight of Passage situation, right? This is what bothers me.
Or are you going to explain what Genie Plus is?
Yeah, so Genie Plus is a paid service that allows you to access the once completely free Fastpass system in general. The entire system is not available to you unless you pay, in Disney World money, $15 per ticket per day.
Right. Family of 4, that's $60 extra a day.
A day.
Now, still a caveat here.
Still a caveat. The next thing is that only grants you access to Tier 2 attractions. So Tron, Light Cycle Run, which is going to open in next year at Magic Kingdom.
Think
Flight of Passage,
Rise of the Resistance, eventually Ratatouille, all the rides that you really,
might still have a virtual queue.
Yeah, but I mean, after a while, eventually it will go into the Tier 1 category. Mm-hmm. Space Mountain, all the ones that are normally you can't book another Tier 1. Those will not be included in the regular Genie Plus Lightning Lane. They're calling them Lightning Lanes now. Yeah. Not in the regular $15 Genie Plus.
No. You'll have to pay
a la carte
per attraction per day per person.
So let's say we want to get on Seven Doors Mine Train, and we've already used Genie Plus. We're using Genie Plus for me, you, and Harrison. And we want to use Seven Doors Mine Train. What do we have to do? Now we have to pay an extra, possibly $25 per person to make a reservation or to use the Lightning Lane for this attraction if we want to.
And the Lightning Lane and Fastpasses can only be used one at a time. You cannot book 3. You have to book 1 at a time.
Okay, so this is my issue with this. Let's say we want to get on Rock and Roller Coaster. Let's pretend it's a Tier 2. It's included in our Genie Plus purchase that we make, right, for $15 a person per day. We log in right in the beginning of the day, and so many people have purchased it, just like always, or booked it, right, that now the next available Lightning Lane time for Rock and Roller Coaster is like what happened with the kiosk days, 7 p.m. And it is currently 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So does that mean we purchased it for $15 a person and we cannot make any other Lightning Lane reservations until we use that one?
Yes.
Which is basically the end of the day.
Yes.
So we just paid $15 a person to get on Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yes.
And I know that's not the way it worked with MaxPass. I know that depending on how far it was in advance, they would make an exception.
Oh, maybe they will. You're right.
But they haven't announced it. I've heard a lot of people talking about
They might not announce it. Maybe they can't do that at Disney.
Well, people have to stop comparing them.
They're totally
technology and the amount of people. Disney World is a beast compared to Disneyland. Disneyland can do other things that Disney World cannot.
Yes.
It just cannot operate that way.
Yes, it can't.
So
you could get on Pirates, you could get on Haunted Mansion, you could get on Space, you could get on Splash, Big Thunder, you know.
I mean, like in an ideal world, the way that Genie Plus is supposed to operate is that you're supposed to purchase it for $15 per person per day, walk in, be able to make a Lightning Lane reservation for Haunted Mansion 30 minutes from now, go get on it, get off, go make another one, and make it basically your whole day of Lightning Lanes, and it tells you where to go.
Yes.
And, you know, you're basically skipping the line.
Right.
I have 2 comments on that. Hopefully it runs that way.
I hope so too.
My biggest issue with this is how it will impact people that do not purchase it. Is their experience in the park going to be horrendous? So, for example, right now, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, or at least before the pandemic, was always sitting at 60 to 75 minutes. Once in a while, 90.
Yeah.
But not, this wasn't like a 3-hour wait for this attraction.
It's a short attraction.
Is it
It gets a lot of
going
people
to become a 3-hour wait? How many people are they going to be booking in this? Like, is your experience going to become less because of you not leveling up? And then Disney, I feel like their general reaction to this type of thing is, because a lot of people complain the parks are too crowded. They either don't care because your reaction to this will be either 1, we need to buy it, or 2, I'm not coming back. And guess what? That's less people in their park. Yeah. It's less crowded, or it's more money in their pocket.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just, like, if you get aggravated with the buses being slow, they know you'll Uber, and it's money in their pocket. It seems like they don't care because they benefit when you're irritated, whether you come back
or not,
or
you're playing by their rules. Yeah.
And it benefits them either way.
So here's the other thing, okay? Now, people that don't ever stay on property, okay, now can pay their way into a lightning lane for Flight of Passage that they were never able to get before. They were never able to get a Fastpass-like service on Flight of Passage or Tron Light Cycle Run or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, all the new things that are going to be opening soon. Now people can pay to play and get those Fast Passes, and it's fine. It's like there's... there'll be a bajillion available because I don't know how many people are going to pay $15 and then another $25 per person per ticket. No, I'm not. Yes, a lot of people will do it. You're absolutely right, especially since Disney World customers are one-timers that just go to Disney once and they're like, well, geez, of course I'll pay it and we can get on everything we want to get on and don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Like, basically...
Like, I don't feel like...
So it does level the playing field.
It's not like if you don't have, express or lightning lanes for everything that you're doomed. Like, there's nothing wrong with waiting in line. No. Sometimes I think we get in this mindset of, like, waiting in line is bad. I know it's hot there most of the time and no one wants to stand in line to be super sweaty and it take forever. Most of the time, Disney lines really aren't that long. My fear, like I said, is that, Flight of Passage, which is typically 3 hours, will become 5 hours.
Right.
Because of this. Like, people not buying it shouldn't notice anything with their experience getting worse.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. They claim that this will start this fall.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. With the 50th and everything going on.
Yeah.
How will it go?
Right.
I don't know.
So basically, ladies and gentlemen, Fastpass is now paid. So that at the end of the day, that's the biggest takeaway people are taking from Genie.
They did announce that if you're on Disney property, you have Genie Plus. So you have to have Genie Plus and be staying on Disney property to have this perk, is that you have access to those paid attractions
earlier in the day.
So
7 a.m.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, those type of things. That's the perk you get.
So at 7, so that also, like you're saying, you don't want people looking at their phones all the time. But now you have people. One person's gonna have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and
if you want to
do that and get access to the premier attractions, like it's gone. So okay, so here's the thing though. What's bothersome about it is that we have gone, you have to pay to get into the park, right? Mm-hmm. And now you got to pay, if you want to get on all the rides. Now, back in the day in Disneyland, when Disneyland first opened, you would pay to get in, and then you'd have to pay for e-ticket attractions.
Yeah, but the cost to get in of admission was low.
Very low.
Even for the time, it was lower than if you're, talking about inflation and all that. Whatever.
Yeah. So, I'm demoralized. I think my biggest thing, being a hardcore Disney fan and obviously a 70 podcasts into a Disney podcast. Well, more than that if you count the band camps. I'm like, it just takes the wind out of my sails a little bit.
Well, I know what the reason is.
It makes
you know
me
why?
sad.
I mean, it was very clear that 10 years ago when they did this whole... when did Magical Express start? Early 2000s?
2005.
Okay, during that time, I feel like it was very clear with the changes that they made that their focus was guest satisfaction and value. And that's what they cared about the most. We're going to get you stay on property, we're going to give you a reason to stay. Yeah, it's expensive, but you get free transportation.
Fastpass Plus.
Fastpass Plus, you get all these things that are included. This is why you should stay here and spend your money
Free
here.
magic bands.
All this stuff. Now, I know the pandemic, whatever, but now I'm starting to feel like, okay, we're using it as an excuse to make all these changes.
Yeah.
Now, there's no way you can look at everything they've announced and said, oh yeah, they care about added value and the guest satisfaction. None of that is clear in the announcements that they've made. Yeah. It's all about the people that are there spending more money.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. What are some of the good? Let's look at your list.
We've
what
heard
are
a lot
some
of
things
them.
you like about Genie Plus?
Well, that's not really the list I made.
Oh.
I do.
You do like it.
Well, I don't hate all of it. I don't like that
so
it's an upcharge.
Explain things that you like about it.
I do like, there were pluses and minuses for me with the old, the Fastpass Plus. I didn't love that we had to know 60 days out. It always felt like sort of like this thing where we had to log in and we had to know which day we were going to be in which park, and we were trying to make fast passes this and that, and sometimes it felt like it put us in a box a little bit. Why do I need to know that we're going to be in Hollywood Studios that day? Because I remember in the beginning when we first started doing it, it was a little overwhelming. I know you're furrowing your brow, but I remember it was for us a little bit. At the same time, though, it is also nice, when you do hit one of those, big top tier attractions, it's nice knowing, you know what? We're definitely going to get on that. We're definitely going to do this on Tuesday or whatever it is. So I feel like it made time in the park once you were actually there more relaxing. Yeah. But the planning process, I felt like was more sometimes irritating. We had to, dining reservation, but we can only get, sometimes we were trying to match all these things up, and it felt like a big, huge pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. I do like the idea of Genie Plus more, because Genie doesn't really matter. It seems like you don't have to purchase it for your whole ticket. If you want to do it one day because you want to do it one day, you have limited time or whatever, you can kind of just decide to do it. Yeah. And it can be a little bit more flexible. What do we want to do today? It's not like, Harrison's having a tough day, but we got to stay out till 3 because we planned this fast pass 60 days ago. It does feel a little bit more flexible in the moment. There are things I like about that too. Yeah. It's not all what I would love to know, which we'll never know. We'll never get this data. Maybe Emily will have some access to it. I wonder how many people are going to be like, no, I'm not doing the Genie Plus thing. And then they go wait in one line and they're like, screw it. I'm just going to buy the Disney Plus thing. You know what I'm saying? How many people are just going to do that? Well, I would argue that I think most people, more people in the park than not are going to have Genie Plus. I don't think a ton of people are going to do the a la carte options. Maybe just like you do, look at us. We do a lot of times one nicer dinner. You can do a thing where you're like, you know what? We're getting on Flight of Passage no matter what. I don't want my parents to wait. It's hot out. My dad's hip is bothering him. We're just going to pay to play. Yeah. People might be in that position. Or some people might have so much money that they're like, I'm just going to do that for everything. And do whatever. Yeah. But I think more people are going to do Genie Plus than not. Yeah. Well, it's... There was this element of, fairness. Level play. With the kiosk before, there was something about that I kind of liked. What I'm worried about is because of the way you and I vacation, and I don't really want to give up my breaks in the middle of the day ever. I will never be in the park in the middle of the day, so you'll be alone. But I don't Like, that's huge for me. That's the reason I can do Disney and the reason I love it. I feel like this is going to shift the way... It could possibly shift the way we vacation. But that doesn't... Like, I just... You know... The one good thing about the way we did it and Fastpass Plus was we could sort of, like, make different selections until we got what we needed. Like, mornings or evening ones.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back at 3 o'clock to do...
it's sad.
You know, and then you feel like you're purchasing something if we were to do it, and it's like, well, we're not
feel
using
like you
it
need
for
to
the
use
middle
it.
of the day. Because I won't do that. Cause
I wonder if you could, like, cancel it. Will you get a refund? No, you won't get a refund. But I'm saying I wonder if you can... No, you're right. It wouldn't work.
I know they did say if you do have a park hopper that you can use it across parks, which was never the case with Fastpass Plus.
Right.
So that is... Although it was, it's just that you couldn't plan it out ahead of time. You technically could do that.
So, what I don't like... I think what bothers me about it is that I think, just like with Premier Access, because you're paying Disney Plus for Disney Plus, and then you're paying another $30 to get access to the movie that's at the movies, you know, which, you know, I understand why. I get the reasons why. I understand. I just feel like now the value out of everything, especially for us and being DVC members, this more than anything makes me feel like I've lost value. You know, that is my number one thing.
Yeah, it feels like it's not. I feel like I've paying all this money already.
Yeah, I feel like I feel a little taken advantage of, put it that way. You know, I don't have to pay for this. I don't really want to have to pay for this. I certainly don't want to have to pay to get on Flight of Passage because of the Premier Lightning Lane access. It really makes me sad in a way because it takes away that value. And that to me is one of the things, like you're saying, Ash, back in the day with Magical Express and Fastpass Plus and Fastpasses and all this stuff, you felt as though you were getting a lot for your ticket price.
Yeah, and staying on Disney property, you felt like, you know what, I'm spending a lot of money, but I feel the value here. I really want to do this.
And now I really don't. I really feel like I'm just being taken advantage of because I'm a super fan, and, you know, it just feels rough. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. I know we're talking about our feelings, but I don't know. Disney is about feelings, and I just feel like this is sad. The magic is a little less so, because what's going to happen too is you're going to see people going into the Lightning Lane line, and it's just going to be
especially
a
the
reminder.
Ones where you know it has been like an added one.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in general, right? Anyone that's using the Lightning Lanes now, you know,
it's going to make you feel.
Which Walt never wanted that in the parks.
Now we're feeling. I'll be honest. I feel like there's a greater sense of inequality in the park now, more than ever.
Which, like I just said, Walt never wanted that in the park.
No. Now, literally, there's just tiered class systems of people. There's people that don't want to pay for, Genie Plus, people that don't want to pay for the Premier. You know, it just, that's what I know I'm ending on a bit of a downer, but at the same time, that's how I feel. And it's just sort of like, I'm going to have to really try to get over that, you know.
And I want to make 2 points, though. Yeah. One is that a lot of articles are comparing it to the Express Pass over Universal. It is
not the same.
Which is not the same, because you pay for that, and you don't have to plan out your day and do these things. There's, like, you know, except that there's, like, one brand new ride. But you can go in any express lane anywhere.
All the time.
Just go on.
Because because the Express Pass for Universal is like double your ticket.
It's not controlled into certain time frames or whatever.
Because a lot of people do it because it's very,
things.
very, very expensive.
So people that are saying like, oh, well, that's like $100, you know, no, don't be an idiot.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is we did put a poll up And most people that responded back, I mean, it was about Genie Plus and Genie and how you felt about it. It was predominantly negative.
Yeah.
So kind of how we're feeling.
Yeah.
Which anytime Disney makes any announcement at all, that's sort of how the Disney universe responds.
But not all the time. But lately, yes.
This has been real bad.
Yes.
And then the last thing I want to mention is that notoriously Disney's Wi-Fi has been, which, Genie and Genie Plus are going to have to operate on this. It's never been very good. So I hope that they have something in place.
Infrastructure,
that's going to improve that.
Right.
Because that's going to be major for everyone doing everything.
There's going to be a lot of guest services line is going to be super long. Just put it that way. It's going to be real long.
Which is already, it takes, when you're in Disney, time is money more than ever. And if you have a hiccup with something and now you have to stand in that line for 45 minutes.
Yep.
And then the one thing you want, like a lightning lane, whatever, to this ride, they're like, oh, we can't give you that.
Right.
Well, it's like,
Yep.
Thanks a lot. And you know what? One other point I want to make, now that I'm thinking about it, is now that people are paying for Fastpasses.
Yeah.
And what happens now when you pay for Flight of Passage? You pay $25 per person and something breaks down, or the animatronic isn't working the way it's supposed to.
Refund you.
People are going to be way more ticked than if it's just included.
Yep.
And they waited in the regular line. Yeah. So like all those things that need to be refurbished.
It's a really great point.
That people just, it's already disappointing when you go and a ride is shut down and you don't get to go on it. But if I paid $25 each for us to go on Rise of the Resistance and some of the stuff wasn't working, I'd be pissed.
$100 for a family of 4.
So you better...
No, I'm sorry. More than that. $160 for a family of 4 to get on some tier 2 attractions and fast. That's $160 a day to get on a premier attraction and have Disney Plus.
Yeah.
$160 a day for a family of 4. That's extra.
And then think if you're there for 5 days or whatever, it all adds up.
Well, anyway, obviously we have spoken our feelings about it. Right. There are pluses, there are minuses.
And you never know. It
might be better than we think.
See, sometimes things can operate really well or, whatever. So we'll see how it plays out. It'll be interesting to see.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was the 70th podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube. Share the podcast. We love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for listening from the Midwest. See you later.